I knew it. Another Hurrdat Media production.
Hi, girl.
Hi.
Look, I'm so excited to do this.
I can't wait. It's been like a year in the making.
Dude, I mean, fuck. Listen, and you know what's funny too? Because I was just talking to Grace, PR, and I'm like, I have had probably over 100 Bravo people on. And I'm like, but like Summer House, what's happening? I've had one. Kyle.
Oh, wow. Well, I mean, he's a good one to have, but yeah, that's kind of
crazy. He was great. He was great. Yeah. Well, and he also did Traders. So we did like a double because I was watching Traders and Summer House. And then I was like, yo, can I have your girl on? And he's like, she's usually not down for this shit.
Like, very evasive. Like even in text message, I like get excited. Like it feels like a presidential text if she like texts you back. So
she's like that, huh?
Very evasive, very exclusive.
But you're kind of like you're on the exclusive chain.
Conditional.
Every other day.
She's hard. She's tough, but she will let you know. She's like, I will appreciate your text message. I probably won't respond to you. And it's like, okay, great. At least we know where we stand.
Exactly. At least she's telling you. You know what? It's so crazy too, because Kyle is so like.
That's probably why she's the way she is, though.
Totally.
You know? It's like he's enough for like 6 different people. So
sober. Oh my God. Oh, by the way, listen, Gab, this is how excited I was to have you on. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
You're going to laugh. I wrote you a poem.
Oh my God. What?
Are you ready? I know I did.
I don't know. Am I? I've never had a poem written for me before.
I'm popping your poem cherry.
Sure are.
All right. You ready? Shit. Pressure's on. This better be good now.
Yeah.
Okay. You ready? You got to tell me if it was shit or good once I'm done. All right. The hottest fashion designer through and through until the end. Right next to Lindsey during her breakup, she has been the greatest friend. So thankful we got her as a new amazing addition to Summer House. Hoping to see her this season getting crazy, doing some cake stands, but of course, while wearing the most fashionable blouse. Can't wait to see her back again for a ton of fun, while hopefully hooking up or breaking up some boys' hearts while soaking up the sun. The second she came on to our screens, we knew she was a shining star. And now, to see her again, you do not have to look too far. Because today we have Gabby.
Oh my God, I love to actually touch.
Really? Did you like it?
Very, very good. And I was an English major, so like props.
This is your jam. Okay.
This is a stroke of literary genius.
Yes. Oh, no one's ever called me that. I like or said that to me. I like it.
You're squeaking. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you were talking about Nashville. Why were you in Nashville? Oh, with Lindsey.
Yeah.
So, how was it? What's happening?
I have never been to Nashville ever in my life. So, and she's been trying to get me to come since like October. She's like, you have to come to Nashville. It's so much fun. And I'm like, I'm not really sure it's like my scene. You know, it's like I'm very much, we're on a group text, me, Lindsay, and Danielle. And I texted her, I was like, what are we packing? How are we dressing? And she's like, well, how country do you want to go? And I was like, city.
None.
I'm literally city. It's not like a thing for me unless it's like a theme party. If it's like a thing, like a theme, I can get into it. But like, it just doesn't, it felt like I don't want to do that because it seems like, you know, disrespecting the people of Nashville's culture if I'm like showing up in a, like, you know what I mean? So I was
the
just
real
like,
peeps. Right.
It's not my thing. I did not know what to expect. I will say, after having done 2 seasons of Summer House, I don't think I've drank like I drank in Nashville since college.
Shut up.
I swear to God. Like day drinking, I was day drunk into night drunk, and that, like, I have not really had that level of alcohol on my system consistently since I was 22 years old. And like spring weekend, twerking on like the common, like, it's just, I have not done that.
And that's saying a lot if you have done Summer House for 2 seasons, which is all about like drinking.
But like, you know, I will say, because like everyone keeps being like surprised. Like Lindsay was like, "You've done Summer House. Like, how are you saying this?" And I was like, the thing is that we kind of like pace it out. We're not really like day drinking into like a night drink. It's like we'll do something during the day, and then we'll have like, and like we're not really doing something at night, or we're doing like a big party at night, but we're setting up during the day, so we're not really like heavily like drinking during the day. There was like either or, never really like the same time together all at once.
So did you know going into this, it was going to be like,
you're I had no expectation whatsoever.
Cowboy boots?
Okay, here's the thing. I go to Wyoming like at least once a year. So like
cowboy?
It's country. It's Western.
Okay. Yeah, Western. Yeah.
It's Western. I think country and Western are very different genres.
Yes, true story. Okay.
So I do own cowboy things. I've like been to Boot Barn a ton. Like I have the stuff. I also just felt like I didn't want to wear it.
Did you wear it anything like that?
No.
I mean, I haven't been in so long too, since I was probably drunk around the clock too, because I went to school in Ohio, so it was closer.
Yeah.
But like, but they do that? Is that like really, I mean, like a thing there? Like everybody.
So here's the thing. I'm not sure that everyone was at the level that we were at.
I bet that is true.
And I was too far gone to tell or observe. So it could have been a thing. I'm just not really fully cognizant of. I can't speak on it. I will say that like we did do like a honky tonk party bus express. So we were like in this like bus contraption where you're like, there's a bartender and there's drinking or whatever. It's not one of those like pedal things, because I looked at Lindsay and I saw that was on the itinerary and I was like, I'm not trying to go to Soul Cycle today.
Yeah, I don't need a workout right now.
Well, like I'm good. So she's like, don't worry, it's not that. So there were like a ton of other ones that we saw but there are also so many people. And I really don't know if they were drunk, but they were going to establishments to get alcohol. So
you know, so how long were you there?
Literally just the weekend. I got in on like Friday night and we left on Monday, and like that's it.
Oh shoot. So you're like in full recovery mode right now.
I'm like, I had a really bad bout of insomnia earlier in January. I'm now at that complete reverse of that. So I'm like now have like narcolepsy or something. I could not drag myself out of bed.
When I was like, hey, can we do a little later? You're like, bitch, we can do like tonight. I need more sleep.
I'm like, perfect. Let's do that.
Yo, is it crazy? Because you came on the show as Paige's friend, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you did not know Lindsay.
Mm-mm.
Is it crazy? Because you have been, I mean, I put in my poem, you are so close with Lindsay. Was that a shock to you?
I don't think it was a shock as much as like we just kind of like gravitated toward, like our energies are very similar. And so it was kind of just like, it made sense. You know, there was never a question in my mind that like, oh, I'm shocked that I'm friends with her. Like Paige had like filled me in a little bit over like before we started doing anything that like 2 summers ago, being like, listen, like Lindsay and I have a past. It hasn't been great, but like now we're okay. So I'm thinking like everyone is good in the house. I was very wrong.
It's yeah.
I think that's what I was thinking. So I'm like, I don't, like, and I also never thought that she would have any kind of issue with me getting close with anyone in the house. But like, I kind of went in thinking, I'll just be friends with whoever, and like whoever we click with. And it just happened that like Lindsay and I are really close. And like, I mean, she lives 12 blocks away from me too. So I like, it's so easy to.
Oh God, you guys are right next to each other.
Literally, she lives across the street from the building that I used to live in. Like,
wait a minute. Mm-hmm. But you didn't know this until you started filming and then meeting her, and you're like, oh my God, we're neighbors.
Mm-hmm. I was like, wait, I used to live in that building and now I live 12 blocks away from you. Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. So, okay, you're like hot fashion designer. You're doing all this stuff. And then Paige is like, hey, you want to do a crazy ass booze-filled party central summer house show with me?
Yeah. She's like, do you want to destroy your life? And I was like, yeah, sure, whatever.
You're like, sign me up.
I'm like, yeah, it sounds like I could use more chaos. So yeah, absolutely.
And had you seen it before? Did you know anything about the show?
I hadn't watched it in any kind of like, I mean, my ex, like the whole thing with my ex and Danielle, like that kind of thing. I like had seen those very specific episodes. And then after that, I was like, I don't need to see anything else, you know? So that was the only kind of context that I had going into it of like seeing what it was like the episodes that my ex were on at like season 2 or like season 1, season 2. I can't remember.
Is that insane that your ex though was freaking on? With Danielle?
It makes me mad because I don't want to give him the credit for it, but he pulled it off. And that's what pisses me off the most about it.
But was it weird then? Because you're like, yo, Danielle, me and you know.
No, because like I know that he was such a lying fucker. I didn't have any kind of animosity because I was like, there's no way that she knew or that he was like telling her the truth. Because he wasn't telling me the truth. And come to find out, like Danielle was one of many other girls that were involved. So it's like, I just was like, I need you to know. But also like, she wasn't with him at the time anymore. It was like years ago. But yeah, it wasn't like weird.
That is insane. The show that he is on, you end up going on as a full-time cast member.
Yeah, he's definitely shaking.
So Paige is like, all right, you're doing your thing, but come like do this craziness with me. You knew nobody else.
No one else. So
you pull up and there's like a lot there. There's freaking Sierra, Kyle, Carl, Lindsey. Like there's a lot of like a lot. It's a lot.
It was a lot.
Were you like, what in the fuck am I doing here?
100%, especially when like the first night, because like my biggest thing was like, am I gonna have to like share a bathroom, and am I gonna have to like share a bathroom with a man? And then come to find out, I'm sharing a bed and a room with like 3 other girls. Like I think there was several weekends where Danielle, Sam, and I were all in the same bed together. I was just like, what am I doing?
I'm too old for this shit.
I'm like, I'm too old for this. Like my sister, I was on the phone with my sister. She's like, are you okay? I was like, I'm not really sure, but we're in it. So we're going to see it through.
Were you nervous? Like doing, there's so much. It's like you're stuck in a house. I mean, listen, the good thing is it's weekends, right? So it's not like 24/7, like a winter house for 3 weeks or whatever. Like you get a break, but you're going in, cameras in your face, crazy personalities everywhere you turn, sharing rooms with strangers. Were you just like, I can't believe I'm doing this?
Yeah, it was. I think there was a lot of disassociation that was happening. A little, like, especially the first kind of night of it all when everything was going down, because we got in so late and we were supposed to cook dinner, but we really didn't cook dinner. And then like Lindsay and Carl were the last people in the house, and like that, like them coming in was like a very palpable like energy shift. So that's when I kind of got like, whoa, what's happening? I didn't think it was going to be like this, because I like Paige told me like everyone's cool, like everyone's squashed their shit, and I was like, okay, great. And then it was evident to me that like I didn't have the whole story. So there was a lot of like, I'm not really sure like what's going on. I mean, I will say that I'm so happy that I had Sam to like experience it first with me too, because I was by myself. I truly think that I would have lost it.
Do you think you would have made it?
Yeah, but like I think it would have just been a very different experience.
Yeah,
for sure.
So you walk in, you are with Paige. Who did you like start like jiving with? Was it Sam?
Yeah.
Sam, and then anybody else?
Sam immediately, because I mean, we like just we're the same. You know, we're in the same kind of situation right now. Like, you've done this before. I haven't done this before. I guess we're sharing a bed, so we better get very comfortable with each other very quickly. So Sam for sure. And then Lindsay like pulled me for a chat. I'm watching a lot of Love Island, so I'm like using a lot of lingo from the Brits. But her and I sat down and chatted like that first night too. And so we got like pretty well acquainted. And then I think like off camera, like during the week, her and I like went to lunch and like talked some real shit. And that like we have like a lot of like mutuals in our past and stuff. So we like we're kind of like, okay, like how were we connected? And I think that like kind of like solidified it. And then when Danielle came the second weekend, because she wasn't there the first weekend.
Oh,
Danielle
right.
There the first weekend. And her and I got to like talking about her ex, and I feel like that was kind of like a weird like sister wives unintentional bond that we had.
So then was anyone like kind of guarded and like kind of like I'm not really sure if I'm digging the new people?
Mm-hmm. Sierra was like very off last summer for me. I don't know what it was, but like she was not like we were just missing each other the whole summer.
You guys clashed. It was like dumb shit too. I feel like the decorations or the like I don't even remember, but it was like
it was very bizarre. And like for me too, I was like, if you don't like me as a person, that's fine. But the reasons that she was giving for not liking me just didn't add up and didn't make sense. Like you can just not like somebody off of the vibe alone, and that's fine. You don't have to explain it. But like then trying to explain it, I was just like, this doesn't make sense. So
right,
whatever. We like it was just like we were missing each other the whole summer.
So then, did you guys ever come to a place where you were like you felt better with each other or more comfortable?
I think this coming into this summer, it was kind of just like, I think she's also was like in a different mindset. Like she was very like standoffish and closed off, like not just to me too. It was to Sam, it was to Chris. Like, I think she was going through some stuff last summer that, you know, I learned a little bit about this summer and I just like wasn't like privy to last year. I think that explains it, but her energy was very different coming into this summer and it wasn't ever that deep, you know? So I'm not really, I mean, listen, I love to hold a grudge. I will hold a grudge to the day I die. It wasn't that deep for me to like not get over, you know?
Cut it off. Well, especially because like Paige and her have always been, which probably made it extra awkward because you're like, I came with Paige. This is her girl. Why aren't we like cool?
Yeah. And I feel like it did kind of like make a separation. Like I didn't spend as much time with Paige last summer as I probably would have because I think Paige is being a really good friend to Sierra with whatever she was going through. So I feel like there was like kind of like a weird, not divide, but like there was like a little separation between Paige and I as well.
Just are you guys still kind of like that?
No, I think that, I mean, I don't think it was anything like severe. It was just like we weren't with each other and like talking to each other as much. I don't think that there was anything that deep. Like I have no problem hanging out with Paige. Like actually all the girls this year, I think we're getting along. It's like kind of nice. We actually like hung out together. Like,
really? Mm-hmm. That's rare.
All of us.
Especially because like there's so much. Like Paige had her thing with Lindsay. Lindsay and Amanda had their thing. Like there's been so much like Danielle and Sierra and that obviously.
And Amanda and Lindsay, which I didn't know, but that came out at the reunion. And I was just like, I mean, it's so layered. When you like, I feel like I needed a brief history or like Summer House for Dummies.
Yeah.
You know, I guess I could have gotten that if I watched it. So whatever.
The Cliff Notes. Like the 101
notes of like the dynamics and like who's mad at who for what and like what happened in the past seasons that people are going to bring up again. I was very lost, but it is very layered and very complicated. But I think this year, at least, we kind of all just like put that to bed. And so now we're all getting along, which is what it should be. And when I thought it was going to be last year, it just wasn't.
I mean, speaking of what you thought, you know, you're coming in, the couple is coming in. We already have Amanda and Kyle obviously established, but then we have the other couple, you know, getting engaged and all this stuff. Like how crazy was that for you? Because now becoming so close to Lindsay and you're seeing all the shit start like going down and blowing up. And were you how were you with Carl as when they were like when you started in the house and they were together as a couple?
Yeah. I mean, I was friends with them both, and I loved Carl, and I thought that, especially like coming in with no prior knowledge of like their interactions or like what happened between them other than like infamous finger banging.
Yeah.
Everyone likes to bring up. I just was like, okay, like they're really happy together. It didn't really register to me why everyone else thought it was crazy, because I'm just okay, like why does everyone care? They're together, they seem happy. What's the issue? And Carl too was like, when I would speak to him, and like, you know, we never really had that much one-on-one time, but like was such a nice guy, and you know, he's newly sober and he has all of these like demons that he's very open to talking about. And so there was a level of vulnerability that he had that, you know, you kind of get close to him a little bit quicker than you would anyone else, because he's just so forthcoming with all this information.
Right.
So for me, I felt like a little betrayed by how he handled everything, because everything that he led me to believe of the person that he was seemed to be in direct opposition to how he handled everything with breaking up with her. And that doesn't really sit well with me.
Yeah. So like you're going through all this and it's obviously so public, right? Like how are you, what was the hardest part of being there as a friend for her? Like her sadness, how public it was?
I think it was that. I think that everything was happening and she didn't have a moment for herself to really process what was going on, because like this, as soon as something happened, like 30 minutes later, an hour later, everyone else knew about it. And so I think that was kind of like the hardest part. It's like, how is this information getting out so quickly? And like, you know, obviously her phone is blowing up. There was no like privacy in any of it. And I think that that's probably the hardest thing. And to like help her cope with that at the same time was just like, it was insane. Like I was over there, my sister came, because it was like fashion week too. It was like the beginning of September. My sister came and she's like, are you living at Lindsay's house right now? And I was like, essentially, yes, because like, you know, she wasn't eating, like she could not eat. She like was so distraught. Like her body was just like rejecting like baby men. Or like gotta eat something. Like you can't, you have, like, we were taking care of her. We were caretakers at that point.
Jeez. And how long was that? Because then you guys went, wasn't that like a bachelorette that weekend that she still had? What was that? No.
Yeah, it was her bachelorette that was still planned. And, you know, obviously when you plan bachelorettes, that is done well in advance. So everything was already booked or whatever. So things really went down like end of August, early September. And then it was like later in September that the bachelorette happened. And, you know, it was a tough week. And then she had a wedding to go to, like kind of like a week after everything went down. And so we were like, it's actually good to get out. The wedding was out of the country. We're like, get out the country, like go where people don't know who you are, like live your life kind of off the grid for that moment, and then come back and deal with other stuff. So when I came back from the wedding, she was doing a little bit better. Not great still, but you know, grief is a process that you have to go through. And I think that she was going through the motions of it. Even on The Bachelor, she was still going through the motions, because it's so hard to be like, I'm envisioning this trip and having planned this trip with like a very different intention in mind. Now we're here on a completely different basis, you know? And so that's also really hard to reconcile.
Like so what were we just talking about? Oh, Lindsay. Yeah. I mean, gosh. And then there were so many things, like he did it to film it and, you know, to break up on camera. I mean, all the rumor mill was like insane. And you guys had already wrapped by then.
We were done. And like, it didn't really make sense to me. And like how everything went down, like her and I were together, like we went to the movies and like they had like had some kind of like issue or like some kind of fight. We all went to Surf Lodge. Okay, let's back up.
Yes,
Sunday we wrap filming and we all leave the house and we all as a cast go to Surf Lodge together, which is historic, has never happened before. All of us, like every single person, which is like just like indicative of the fact that like we were all getting along. We all had so much fun this summer. And so Lindsay didn't really feel like going. Like her and Carl had like weren't in the best place at that point, or on that day, I should say. Not even at that point, on that specific day. But she's like, I'll come. Like, I want to hang out with my girls, like whatever. And then we'll just drive back from Montauk on Sunday night, which they did, got in some kind of argument. And so Monday comes around, he's doing some kind of charity golf tournament. So she's in the apartment by herself. She calls me and she's like, he's not here. Like, what do I do? And I was like, just like wait for him to come home. I don't know. He's gone the whole day. Then she goes out to dinner. So like by the time she comes back, he's like, he's not, I'm not, the door's locked, like the lights are off. He doesn't want to talk. Tuesday comes around. She's like, hey, do you want to go see a movie? I'm like, sure, no problem. And they still hadn't talked. They had still haven't speaking. So this is like now 48 hours that they've gone without speaking. And so then Wednesday was like the day that everything went down, but like cameras are now up. So like they haven't spoken for 48 hours, but the first time you speak, you feel it's appropriate to do it on camera.
After you were wrapped.
After we're wrapped.
That's fucked up. So it was true. I thought that was a lie. Because there's so much, Gabby, you know, there's so much stuff out there. And I was like, no way that they like did this whole like thing. You know, are we trying to be like the second like Scandal? Like there's you saw the crap out there.
They did.
And I was like, no way someone would actually do that. And they were living together at the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then this all happened.
It baffles me as like, even, I mean, obviously that person's your fiance, so you have the intention to marry them. So obviously that's like the feeling, like you would never want to treat anyone that you're marrying like that. But like that aside, because, you know, relationships can go wrong. That's your friend, your best friend of how many years? And you're still going to do that? Like, that's crazy. Yeah. That's crazy to me.
Well, exactly. That's exactly right. It's not like they were just like, we started dating and we got engaged. Like they were like, this was for years. They had a huge history.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It was just like, is there anything that you would say to people who are like Carl supporters?
I support Carl to an extent, right? And I feel like what people are missing is that there has to be a separation between how he handled things and what actually was like going on in the relationship. I don't think it's anyone's place besides Lindsay and Carl to speak on whether they should or should not have stayed together. That's none of our business, right? So we cannot comment on why he did what he did. We can comment on how he did what he did.
Totally.
And so for the Carl supporters, I'm like, you're wrong, but it's fine. It's just I can't back someone who does something like that. That's crazy. And like, if you do, I think it says a lot more about you.
Did a lot of people like rally behind her, or was it split? Was it like, I'm pro Carl, I'm team Lindsay? I
think it definitely sent a shockwave because it happened again. We were already wrapped. So like, and it was so fresh of us being wrapped. So, I mean, all the girls got together and we like, you know, rallied around Lindsay, but I feel like it was such a shock and it happened so quickly that everyone's like, kind of like, okay, but like, there has to be a reason. Like, it's so weird that Carl decided to do this or like whatever. And I think then a lot of the people on the cast also were kind of like, well, they should not have been together in the first place. They shouldn't have been getting married in the first place. Yeah. Which again is no one's place to say. Like we're kind of missing the point here. Like, should they have gone married? No, but no one deserves to be like hung out like that.
Totally. Oh my God. Well, your ex does, but other people don't. Yeah. Did you ever think though, getting close to her like you did, that you would have been such a huge support for her through this as you have been and are?
You know, it's funny. I think that when Lindsay decides to be your friend, you kind of are like, okay. And you don't really have a choice either way. You know what I mean? It's kind of like she lets you enter her life and then you're kind of like in there. So it wasn't that surprising that like, because I also think it's really hard for people outside of experiencing us filming to kind of fully get the extent, because they weren't with us the whole summer. They didn't see what was going on. They weren't living with everybody at the same time. So there's a level of like intimacy and like knowledge that the people who we shoot with have that I think other people miss. And you know, you can be close. Like obviously I have very, very close friends outside of the show and you can fill them in, but you're still missing that part because it's always like you're not experiencing it live.
Because you didn't do it and you guys did it.
You didn't do it. So I think that when it didn't surprise me that like I was one of the people, even with Danielle too, like Danielle drove her ass from Montauk, like in her little like Mini Cooper, like speeding down like that Long Island Expressway to get to Lindsay. Like it's just like, it doesn't surprise me when something that catastrophic happens to a close friend that like, you're just going to be there.
Is she like Lindsay and all like if like the one ride or die in the house, is it her?
Yeah.
And then who would be next?
Probably Danielle. I mean, I think like last summer got complicated because when they were feuding, like Sam and I knew we were getting close to both of them. But then when things kind of were dissolving like between their relationship, it was kind of like, I don't really know where to stand on this. But I mean, thank God they came back together because like that would have been super awkward for me this summer.
Yeah.
And, like drama that I don't really want to get involved in. But yeah, I would say it was like Lindsay and Danielle.
So you're there. There's two parts. The after the filming and what happened with the relationship. And then when you were filming, what was harder? Like filming and being on camera or dealing with the cleanup of this aftermath?
Yeah, dealing with the aftermath for sure. For sure. Because during filming, there wasn't anything significant, in my opinion, that was happening that would signify or justify what then transpired after we wrapped. So dealing with it when we were filming, I'm like, okay, yeah, this is, typical summer house drama. Nothing big is really happening. It didn't faze me whatsoever. Dealing with the aftermath was, something I talked to my therapist about extensively.
Jeez. See, that's the crazy part too. You're doing a crazy ass reality show, which is crazy in itself. And yet with so many of these shows like this, so much shit happens not when you're not filming, off season.
Mm-hmm.
So, but like for you're coming in, some of the girls were a little like attitude-y with you, and there's a lot of drama that you didn't know about between certain people and couples and whatever. You'd go for a weekend and then you go back to like regular life. Yeah. Was there a point like when I'm back in New York, I'm at regular life working, I don't want to go back this weekend? Like, were there times? Like
several times the first summer for me, just because like it felt, the energy in the house was so bizarre and like awkward to deal with because I didn't really know where, and I think Sam could probably attest to this too. We really didn't know where our footing was. And like, these feuds and these people are having this history and like extensive like beef with each other. And we're kind of just being like, we're just like here to have a good time. We thought that this was like a fun thing because, we both had gone to the Hamptons and like, I mean, I've never done a share house before, but like I've never experienced like the level of insanity that was the first season between like the Danielle and Lindsay drama of it all, the like Kyle and Lindsay drama of it all. Like it all just felt like a lot. And that we, again, were not privy to whatever was happening in the past. We were playing catch up and watching it happen in real time. So we're trying to understand, but at the same time, there was like also no way that we could possibly ever.
So then like you're seeing this, and you're like, okay, I'm catching up. Okay, this person had issues with Lindsay. This person had issues with Lindsay. This person had, were you ever like, why is Lindsay like the common denominator?
All of the time. I was like, it seems like she might be the problem. But like, I mean, and she could have been, because again, like I really do need to watch the show, but like, she could have been, right? But like for me, and from what I was going based off of what everyone was telling me. So we're like, we've squashed this. We're over this. Like we are going into the summer clean slate. So I'm thinking like, if you were saying that and you were mutually agreeing to get over it, and like for that summer, my first summer, Lindsay was never the one to initiate anything. You know, she was always kind of like, everyone's coming at me. Like, but everyone has also then said to my face, we're good.
We're good. Totally.
And so that was confusing to me too, because I'm like, if we're saying we're over it and we're agreeing, handshake, like let's bygones be bygones, why are we still harping on the same stuff? So tired. Like I'm tired.
I mean, it's tiring. You're like, there's no break because your weekends are normally people who work. That's normally your break, the weekends, right? Your breaks were more work on top of your normal work, right? Mm-hmm. For 3 months.
Yeah.
2 months.
2 months.
So, and it was a lot for you that first season, between like people who weren't being the coolest to you, between all the dysfunction between the other people. Afterwards, why were you like, let's do it again?
More time, run it back. Delusion.
Hence why your sister's like, yo, are you okay mentally? What's happening?
Because it's so funny. My sister is always kind of like, you compartmentalize a little too well. So like you will have like these very strong, intense, like emotional like feelings and stuff. And then, 12 hours later, you're like, oh my God, get over it. Like, it was fine.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking, especially when, like the first summer happens and then you're off and it's like the fall. So you kind of get back to your real life, and then it airs in the winter. So you kind of already have that separation from it, and you're watching it back and you're like, okay, like that's a little re-traumatizing, but like, whatever. Like we also like, there were pockets like where you see like we had a lot of fun. So, and memory works in like a weird way where you're like, it was really fun. So then by the time you're leading, like the season ends, you film the reunion, you're leading up until the next summer, and you're like, I did have a really good time. I really do want to do this again.
It's, what it's like? It's like a couple who has a kid, and the first 3 months you want to, it's fucking hell every second. And then they get a little older and you're like, oh my God, this is the best time of my life. And you completely forget.
Like, I want to know.
And let's do it again. Let's go back for season 2. It's funny that you said that, because I was just talking to somebody and they're like, there's 3 parts of doing a reality show. There's the filming, the watching of it back, and then the reunion. Mm-hmm. So you watched this first season that you were in. Did you watch it?
Yeah. Because I had to. I was like, because again, memory works in like a weird way. So there's like things I just like don't even remember. And I'm like, what did I say? And like, I tried to make it a point to like not get caught saying things differently to people. But I didn't really know if I like lived up to that. So I wanted to see if that was true. So yes, I did watch the season that I was on in full, because we get the episodes early too. So
watching it back, because again, it's so much after the fact. Like you can be in a completely different place with somebody than you were 6 months ago when you filmed.
Yeah.
Which part was harder, do you think? The filming, the watching back and seeing what people are saying, or seeing like, because you don't know certain situations that are happening because you're in a different room or you're partying or whatever.
I think the watching it back, because, you kind of get an idea of like what is going to happen with you, but like you never know how people are. So I never knew that like Sierra and Maya had that conversation in the kitchen. I really didn't know. And like it was weird, like, and it does change like your relationships with people too, because I'm thinking I was like cool with Maya, like her and I had actually like gone out to dinner with each other in like March before the episode aired. So like, she didn't even like give me a heads up, and I thought we were cool.
Yeah.
Like, like, oh, by the way, like coming up, like you might hear something that we said, like, I didn't really know you then, just like, to let you know, like that nothing happened. And I do feel like that shifted our relationship, because I'm like, if we're cool, why wouldn't you like at least tell me like, hey, this was the impression I got of you beforehand?
Totally.
out. Like, you accepted a dinner invitation from me. So like, why do you want to go out to dinner with someone that you have these feelings about? Just like weird, you know? So it's definitely like harder to watch it back and like see how people are receiving you, see how people are reacting to things that you're doing and all that stuff for sure.
Did it change things for your actual work, like your actual career, your job?
In a way, I didn't realize that how much fashion loves Bravo.
Yeah.
So, and the season premiered like right in the middle of New York Fashion Week. So it was really funny to like, and you know, I've been in the industry for a while. So a lot of my friends were like, we didn't know that you were doing this, or like, we knew that you were doing this, but like, it's crazy to see you like on TV and like that kind of thing. And I was like, I didn't like, first of all, hold on. You're telling me that like, cause at least I thought I was a Bravo fan. Turns out there's a lot of Bravo stuff that I don't watch, but that's a job. But like, I watched Housewives, like it was like a thing. So I'm like, wait a minute. So you're telling me that all of you were tuned into this show and no one wanted to tell me about it? No one was like, no one said anything. I was like, that's the most disrespectful thing. That's crazy.
So people like received it well though?
Yeah. Yeah. It was like fine. And you know, my boss, I'm really lucky in the sense that like my boss is really, really understanding of me doing this and being flexible with the schedule, especially during the summer, because it is, you know, a little bit more than just like, you know, going out on the weekends, because it kind of does encompass your entire summer. You know, it hinders you from being able to do certain things. So I'm really lucky that my boss is really understanding of that. But it was a little bit more, it was shocking to see how more positively it was received, because I wasn't expecting that.
Like for your job and your career.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you think it has helped?
I don't know if it's helped. I just think that like people are like, this is just like something else. Like, cause I think that, you know, a lot of people in fashion are multi-hyphenates, especially at this point. You know, we're all creators, we're editors, we're creators, we're doing all these other things. So I feel like it's not as insane as it might have been to do this like 9-10 years ago.
Right.
So it's not, I don't even say it's easier. It's just kind of like, oh, she does this too.
So who has the best, other than you, who has the best fashion in the house?
I mean, Paige has great Paige has great style. I think Amanda has the best personal style.
For her.
Like in general, I think that like, for me, I don't know if I would say I have personal, I just like to wear a ton of different things. And like, sometimes you'll see me in one outfit and then see me in something else and be like, no, this doesn't really add up if we're talking like personal.
Yeah.
style.
Yeah. Got it.
Or like I have multiple different personalities and like all of them have their own style. But like, I think Amanda's the most consistent in being like, yes, I can definitely be like, that's Amanda Batula. It's like a Jenna Lyons thing. Like, you know how Jenna Lyons is
totally.
Or like a Grace Coddington. Like Grace Coddington was always wearing the same kind of like uniformity thing. So I think that's like what Amanda's like personal style. She has the best of it, because it's like, yes, this is Amanda.
How long, speaking of someone crack, like Lindsay, I feel like could sometimes, how long did it take, or are you even there yet, like to crack Amanda?
Oh, not long. Amanda's like the nicest person. And she is also extremely open. Like if you want to talk to her, she'll talk to you about it. It won't be over the phone, but if you get her in the room and like you're with her, it's very easy.
Yeah.
It's just like, you just got to get her there. It's the problem. But like Summer House is a great like excuse, because like she's there all the time.
You're there. Could you imagine though, would you think you'd want to do it or be able to do it if it was like a winter house and you're literally there, you don't leave 24/7 with these people?
I give so much credit to the cast of Winter House and their therapist, because that is a level of like mentally debilitating, like that's psychological torture. I cannot imagine doing that. And I think it's crazy, because if you look at the scheduling of all of the Bravo shows, that's the only one that's really like that.
It's insane.
And it's insane. And like, you know, the Summer House scheduling is a little different too, because I've known Jessel for a couple of years just being in fashion. And so her and I had like gone to an event that we were both at before Summer House aired and obviously before New York Housewives aired. And she was talking about the schedule. And I was like, we are on two different realms here. Like I was like, I wish it was kind of like that. Like,
yeah,
we are,
totally.
You know, like we're landlocked in the New York in the summer for the whole time. We're out there every single weekend. We film during the week and like it changes every single week to week, like what days we're shooting and what scenes we're shooting, what we're doing. So like the winter house schedule is like the most terrifying thing in the world to me. I would definitely snap.
Yeah, because you guys like get a break. I mean, you go 3 days. You go hard for 3 days, but then you get like a recovery, a break.
You can come and sleep in your own bed. You can be in your own house, which is like, you know, so important to be like grounded in like whatever you feel like you need to be grounded in, especially doing this for like the first time. And, you know, my parents were like close by at the time, so I could like go home and see them. Like, if you don't get that, it's like there in the cold, no less. So,
no. And you're such like an energy girl, right? I feel like for you, like being okay, I get to go home for a second. I get to like decompress and have a break. My energy, like not the craziness of everyone else's energy in the house. Like I just feel like that is very important.
It's so important. Like I need time for myself. Like even thinking about like sharing a space with a significant other, I'm just like, can you live like next door?
I need a minute away from your ass.
Gwyneth Paltrow has it right. Like her husband lives in a house right next door to her. A perfect relationship.
So where are you with the men? I mean, is it like, have more men been like, reaching out to you because they see you and you're like, you're hot, let's do it, let's go? What's happening?
No, but
you met a cowboy at Nashville? Oh, this is a long silence. Things
happened in Nashville. I don't think they need to happen again. I was had in Nashville. I went country for a weekend and I came right back. Like,
what happens in Nashville stays in Nashville.
Listen, it was a great. I will say too, like Nashville men, because one of my favorite things to do is when I go to a new city, I love to like open up my dating apps and just like see the scope of men. Everyone is like 6'1" and above. We absolutely love it. Like there's a lot of hat wearing, so you can't really tell what people's hair. I'm like, are you bald? Are you balding?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, Memphis. Like we got it. Like I need to see. So
what's the situation up here?
We just, like, I gotta know, you know, like not every single photo needs to be you in a hat, whatever. So the scrolling was fun. It was like good to like see. I also just feel like I do my best work internationally.
Yeah.
So me and American boys, as of, I guess me being like, I guess in the pandemic, we have not gelled. So I think my American boy era has closed and my international boy era is very much open, and we love that for me because again, I like to be by myself, so like he can be in another country.
But do you have more like suitors reaching out?
No, honestly, no. I don't think. I was told by like a close friend of mine that my energy was not very welcoming, which I resent. But
a close girlfriend or a boy?
I don't have close boyfriends.
Yeah. So a chick said that your energy wasn't very welcoming?
Yeah. She's like, you're closed off. And I was like, I don't think I am. But like, you know, I take it and I'm like, maybe I am. Maybe that's how people perceive it. So I do think it's a little bit harder for me to like meet people out. I'm trying a little bit more because I haven't really done that in a while. And, you know, trying to express that if I have a resting bitch face, I don't really know how to change that. So I'm like, if you have the balls to talk to me, great. I'm not that nice, but I can be nice. I'm not going to shoot you down in public, but I can't help how I look sometimes, you know?
You know, it's funny. I'm like, this is a tough bitch. Like, she's tough. She's hard, right? Like, she will bust Bob. I like, just from watching about you. And then like one of the first emails that we were sending and you were like using exclamation points. And I'm like, she is not that tough.
I'm not.
I like her.
I'm not.
I like it. I mean, that threw me. I was like, nope, not the girl that you like. That's the thing. People, I talk to all these people and they're like, they assume I'm da.
Yeah.
What are like the one thing, if you wanted to say, listen, you guys watch the show and you think this of me, but I want you to know I'm really this. Like, what's one thing that you feel like people aren't seeing of you that they should know?
I think people assume that I'm like very high maintenance and that I expect a lot of things to be done for me or, you know, whatever. And that is the furthest from the truth. I can take care of myself and I don't expect anyone to do that for me. And I don't think that that necessarily comes across all of the time. And I think that that's also like kind of a thing just in dating when like even, you know, men are like, well, I can't like buy this for you. I'm like, who asked you to do that?
Yeah,
I don't really care. I mean, unless you want to buy me a Birkin or a Kelly, in which case go for it. But like, I'm not expecting
no to everything.
Right. I'm not expecting that. I'm also like, it's my personal nightmare for some like a partner of mine to like try to buy me something like fashion related. Like I would no. Like I can get it myself and I'm sure I can get a better deal than you. So please don't do that. Like it's no, I don't want that. I can take care of myself and I don't expect someone to do that, but I don't think that that comes across. I also think that I'm really complicated, which is like what I'm like learning in therapy is that I am very emotionally shut down for a lot of stuff because I can compartmentalize really well. So I don't feel things necessarily. And I think that that's maybe weird for people.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, it's weird for me too. Like, I'm like, yeah, like this should make me feel a way. But like, if it's an unpleasant feeling, I like suppress it. And I'm like, I'm not going to deal with it because like, I don't feel like dealing with it. So I feel like that's a little bit hard because I feel like then people think I have a wall up.
Yeah.
And it's not really a wall. It's more like, this is how I'm like used to living my life because it served me super well to get to where I am. Like, you can't really be that emotional, like, you know, working in a fashion closet. You can't be sitting there crying over shoes. Like,
right.
Those girls don't make it. So it served me really well to be that way. And for so long that it's kind of hard to pivot and not be that way.
Of course.
You know, therapy is helping, but I'm not there yet. So
do you think that like obviously this season now, which is airing, hello, I don't know why I thought next week. I was going to put you up next week. Tomorrow. Yo, I'm going to ask Grace and both Graces if we can do this and put this up tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because that would be great. The day of your premiere.
Amazing.
Like freaking, do you think there's a different side of Gabby that they will see, us will see this season than last season?
For sure. I think that, you know, your freshman season is always kind of a little, you're getting thrown into it. You don't really know what to expect. You're feeling people out. You know, you're fostering and you're building the relationships. I think, you know, round 2 for me, it's like I've known these people for a year. Like I'm a little bit more comfortable with some of them. And then we have the benefit of having 2 new guys. And you know, as I said before, like the energy was very different this year. So I feel like since I am an energy person, like when I feel a little bit more comfortable, different aspects of my personality come out. And, you know, I feel like I'm always going to be like an honest person, but there's like a side that I have to like now explain and be a little bit more vulnerable to other people that it's tough for me because again, like I don't really feel things. So I think you'll see a lot of that, but also a lot of fun.
Well, but not, you know, it's because that's what you said. And remember at the very beginning with Carl, you're like, you know, he's very open about a lot of stuff, heavy stuff, like right off the gate, which makes you like kind of drawn to him because it's a vulnerable side of him and he's being so open and honest. So
it's nice. I mean, I wish I could be that way. It takes me a minute. Like I'm not, you know, especially if I don't feel safe around people, I'm not going to open up because I don't know how you're going to use that against me. Crazy.
Right. Well, and it's like you said, I think we're cool. And then I see afterwards what you're saying.
To find out we were not cool.
Which then fucks with your head more, which makes you like regress and go back into it.
Right.
So was that hard then? Because, you watch it back, you have the reunion, and then it's time to film again.
Mm-hmm. And like, you don't know who's coming back if you're not really talking to that, like if you don't have that kind of like level of relationship with people. So yeah, like you really don't know. And so you're like, oh my God, is it going to be like I only have last summer to go off of. So I'm thinking it's going to be like the exact copy paste of like what happened last year. I'm like, oh my God, like I can't like do this whole thing again. Like I truly will be in like the silent delusions. Like I can't do it. So it's again, my therapist is very well paid. Okay. It is fuck, but it's also, it really is so fun. And I will have to say, one of the main reasons I did this is because so many of my friends and like the people I was closest with moved away in the pandemic. So I felt like, I'm like, I need to like build up my friendship circle again. But like, it was also like coming out of the pandemic, we're not really going out in the same way that we used to. I'm also like older. I'm not going to like try to like to do like Bumble BFF. I'm like, what the fuck? No.
Yeah. Totally.
So like, this is like the easiest solution for me to like build, new friendships with people because we're forced to be together. And it really worked out for me. I do feel like there are some very, very close friendships that I have. And, even not close friendships, just like friendships in general. I do feel like I'm genuinely good with every single person on this cast. Like I could text anyone apart from Amanda. She might not really respond just then. I actually have to say I've had I think she may like me more than anyone else because she has responded to me on every single text that I've sent her.
Oh, well, there you go. Boom.
That's favorites because everyone does. And I just might be her favorite.
But like, what if next season they're like, okay, will you come back? And you're like, okay, maybe. And then they're like, but we're bringing back Lindsay and Carl.
I mean, I would pull up a seat because I would love to see what would happen. I would love to see what would go down. Absolutely. I'm 100% there. I'm getting the room right directly across from both of them, I honestly think that Carl has a lot more to answer for.
Yeah.
And I think it would be a harder season for him. But I also think that he's probably going to have a little bit more support in the house than he thinks that he might not. So who knows?
Do you think Lindsay would do it if Carl was going to be doing it?
Yeah, I don't think at this point, I think that she is now so over it that she would not. She's like, he can do whatever he wants. He can live his life. I'm living mine. It does not affect me what he does. And good for her. She should feel that way.
So you think she would come back even if Carl was coming back?
Yeah.
Yeah. Got it.
I think they both, because I also think that because everything went down so late and you only really see the breakup of it, and of course it's going to be a very contentious topic at the reunion, you're not going to be able to see it fully.
Right.
And both sides of their stories or whatever the case may be. So I feel like people will want the explanation and to see it kind of play out a year later.
Totally. Oh my gosh. I can't believe it, Gabby. Tomorrow.
I haven't watched the episode, so I don't. I'm going to find out with everyone else. As I said, I'm narcoleptic now. And I can't wait.
Do you know how badly I wish I would live near you so we could just, with our fucking energy and mouth and the way we are, just jam?
Yeah.
Well, listen, when you come to LA.
I haven't been in years, actually. I used to go all the time for work. And in 2023, that kind of just stopped because I got this new job. So now I'm traveling to different places, but not so much LA. But it's one of my favorite places. One of my favorite places to swipe. Everyone there is so hot.
Yeah.
It's
Nashville.
But here's the thing that I'm learning. Everyone in LA is hot but poor.
True story. Or fake.
New York is mid, short, but stable. They have jobs.
Yeah.
They're not like bartender / actor / musician / whatever. They're like,
I know.
So
Wait, which job are you today? Pick a path. Pick a path. Yeah. Oh my God. Listen, I'm so excited for this new season. I'm so excited that we freaking got to do this.
I know.
I have been so looking forward to this. And listen, I love you, but I love you even more the fact of now knowing what you just went through over the weekend and you still rallied and got your ass out of bed for me.
And like, I didn't have any IV drip. I was raw dogging it. Like I don't drink. The good thing is I don't get hungover. So that does help, but it was still a struggle. I was not well.
Well, you look it, and this was freaking, because I was same thing. Like, I was like, is she going to be tough? Like, I'm loud and I'm a mouth and I swear. And I'm like, is she going to be like, oh my God, this bitch is like crazy, which she probably still could. But I'm telling you, I saw the exclamation points. I'm like, oh no, we're good. We're good.
Oh yeah. When I'm excited about stuff, like I'm in, like, I'm like, let's go. It's just, you don't get that off the bat with me, and that's fine. You just have to stick around and find out.
I feel
stick around and find out.
I feel very special. Like I just got a text from Amanda special.